This painting's called Freedom, Let My People Go. And as time went on after October 7th, I became increasingly alarmed at how short our attention span was. Less and less often you were hearing people mention the hostages in the conversation, and the conversation was just becoming so political. When this should not be a political issue, this should just be a human one. These people had been taken out of their homes, the streets they lived on, from a music festival, and they were being held captive against their will. Their families had no idea if they'd ever see them again. I created this painting as it was coming up on the 200th day of them being in captivity. Like 200 days. You can't even imagine that. I didn't know how to go about it though. How do I make this painting? What do I use? Do I paint their faces? Do I stitch their names? Like what can I do for this? And then at Passover, my cousin stood and and shared the prayer Achenu. In English it reads, "Our family, the whole house of Israel who are in distress or in captivity, who stand either on the sea or on dry land, may the Omnipresent have mercy on them and take them out from narrowness to expanse, and from darkness to light, from oppression to redemption, now, swiftly, and soon." I knew that provided the imagery I wanted to use for this painting. It said either on sea or dry land. I used the cerulean blue to represent the sea with a little bit of biblical imagery here of parting the Red Sea, another time that God has let his people go. Dry land here, the roots are firmly planted in the dry land. The golden light here is that example of the mercy and the redemption that are needed. The tree itself, it's an olive tree, which I used to represent the house of Israel, because Mordecai Paldial said, "The olive tree may grow crooked, it suffers, but it never dies. It is a symbol of the Jews." Olive trees are absolutely fascinating because they can become hollowed out, they can be burned or cut down, completely break in two. But if their root system is good, they will regrow and bear fruit again. They're just fascinating trees. You can see that these rows of chains have been broken in many areas, just representing the many times that people have been freed in the past. But there are still 3 rows representing the hostages, their families, and Jewish people around the world. Because at this time that I was creating this, also in the spring 2024, college campuses were seeing just a huge uptick in anti-Semitism, and people were scared, and understandably so. Every single chain in this painting, every single stitch in this painting is a different form of chain stitch, which was incredibly hard to do because chain stitches are connected all the way across. So I could stitch this whole row, and if I pulled too hard at the very end, the whole row would come out. But I knew I needed to use this symbol, this chain, as a very obvious symbol of oppression and captivity there throughout it. And so I created this painting just hoping to ask viewers to remember the humanity, to remember the hostages, to put aside politics and recognize that these are real people with real lives, real families, dreams, hopes for the future, and they deserve freedom. To think about what freedom really is, how much it means to us, and what it would mean if it was taken away.